an incredible privilege. And that took me to Mount Sinai School of Medicine, where my advisor, Jeffrey T. Laitman, made me exposed to small scale mammals in forms of rabbits to, to large scale mammals like the American moose. I mean, my area of expertise is in the nasal region, and take a look at the length of this schnoz here from my right arm all the way across my chest. It's an impressive, and it's not even an adult. This took me to the OR, where I was allowed, because of this gentleman here, Dr. William Lawson, Vice Chair of Otolaryngology. He allowed me to come in and look at his rhinoplastic surgeries to document variation. Here is a practicing surgeon still preoccupied with understanding variation. At the time, I was overlapped with the senior fellow who studied under Dr. Lawson before he came to Downstate, where he was distinguished professor and chair of otolaryngology here, Dr. Richard Rosenfeld, who would like kind of say in the OR, who is this guy? How come he doesn't have a scalpel? He must not be a surgeon, because every surgeon there, as you can see, holds a scalpel. My connections with William Lawson connected me with the ENT folks from Bordeaux, France, where they were performing endoscopic examination of the nasal region of great apes. This is a chimpanzee, and this is a superb example of a healthy, vibrant, male individual. It's nothing but muscle. Here I am palpating, trying to feel for any fat adipose tissue. No, this is a pure muscle machine. Remarkable. You don't get this from reading books. So I was privileged with that. And the next day we looked at an orangutan. We did an endoscopic examination. I put my head there for you to compare with the incredible lateral fat pads that these orangutans are. And it's being treated very carefully, because when they these are anesthetized, they're completely asleep. But when they lie them down anesthetized, they have trouble breathing. So they learned over the years that they put them in this position to give them comfort and allow them to have good breathing. So why do we all do this? We do this to answer my research questions as to human origins, what it was that made us modern human. And my advisor was very nice to me and allowed me to participate in a paper, an invited commentary in a very prestigious journal, Proceeding of the National Academy of Science. I actually wrote 2 paragraphs because I know the literature, and that was an opening for me, and that was published in 1996. And a year later, I went to the London Natural History Museum, where this specimen is housed. This is the famous Broken Hill 1 cranium, the first cranium of major import that was discovered in Africa in 1921. 76 years later, 1997, when I went to look at it, I saw that it had a broken orbital floor, and I put seeds through that hole into the maxillary sinus, and I was able to ascertain a volumetric quantitative measure by transforming the weight in grams of the seeds to a volumetric measure, yielding a quantifying number of its volume. I compared that with about 400 human skulls from cold environments from Alaska, Northern Europe to tropical and subtropical Africa. And when I plot them, I noticed that the cold environments group differently from the hot ones. And these 3 fossil finds there were grouping with the tropical African sample, which is amazing because these 3 fossils in red were living or were found in cold Europe. So what are tropical nasal profiles doing with the African profile in Northern Europe? So that led to this paper that I wrote in 2014. It got enormous coverage in the UK, in Asia, in Australia, and I started getting a reputation. 5 years later, we reconstructed the eustachian tube of Neanderthals and found them to be drastically different from modern humans, and again, got equal worldwide coverage. And it's been an exciting 10 years of my life here at Downstate. So with my research background, I extended that and created and designed research projects for medical students for the purposes of making them more marketable when they apply for residency, because every residency director is a doctor that went through medical school, and these people know how voluminous the amount of material you get in your first year. So when they look at a CV and they see that not only did you do well in your courses, but you took on a research project that you presented at a national meeting, they want those type of residents. And so here I am. I just don't take one or two, I take 9, 10, 14 individuals. And the former dean of our school, Dr. Ian Taylor, heard about this, and I told him, could I bring the cohort of students? And he said, by all means do so. This is a great thing. And he agreed with the strategy of making them more marketable. So so I owe it to Dr. Taylor, who, that little gesture of patting me on the back saying, well done, this is good, because he's a very honest guy. If he says this is not good for them, he would have said it. And so that gave me just a little bit of reinforcement to keep doing. It's not easy, it's not easy, but to see them dress up professionally, to design the posters, to deliver the material, and then have an end of meeting dinner is well worth the effort to do that. So this is medical students. I would be remiss if I don't say to Dr. Carla Bouton-Forster and also to Dr. Nika Daniels-Osanze, who would recruit college underrepresented individuals and assign them to a myriad of researchers at Downstate. This was my last student, Brittany, who did a ton of work by going to the museum, by measuring skulls and delivering. So the work that they do is awesome and it's inspiring. And so we all do our little bit. I was recognized by the Daniel Hell Williams Society on mentorship. And at that ceremony, you get to meet prominent people like our president, President Riley. But no offense to the president, the big reward is to get to dance to the future graduates of our, they won't dance with me because they realize that I'm not a very good dancer. In fact, I don't know how to dance at all, but they try to teach me. And now talking about teaching, we have the best personnel, especially under these COVID conditions. We have Dr. Shirley Eisner and Dr. Jason Scalia helping with the remote teaching. But before COVID, I had Dr. Martin Levine, who taught here for 36 years. He was sort of like my mentor. And so I appreciate his efforts, and my two deaners who have been instrumental in helping us remotely, Mike McGillicuddy and Noel Caceres. You think that they're dissecting a human, but that's not a human skull. That's a cow's bisected head. So it's nothing gory. It's just something from the butcher. So we teach at the School of Health Professions, and we teach at the College of Medicine. And both schools, ladies and gentlemen, really exemplifies the strength of the student body, and that is in its diversity. We have a Pakistani, we have a Nigerian, we have a Ukrainian, and I didn't even tell you where my family is. I was born in the South Bronx, but my family is from Colombia, South America, so I forgot to even mention that. So let's get to my education outreach. I would assemble a team and send them to high schools or middle schools, and I try to get people of color, but not necessarily all the time. This is Dr. Estome Mitui, Director of Anatomy at Weill Cornell Medicine. He's actually from Tanzania, from a tribe, and somebody from London came to vaccinate his village. And that little experience sparked an interest of him, and he went and got his medical degree from London School of Medicine, and he participated too. We got noticed by New York One. I'll just play a little bit.
Camacho says she's always enjoyed science class because she's curious about how our bodies work.
The body's interesting because every little thing is connected, so it's kind of perfect.
Camacho and her classmates at Our Lady of Fatima got a hands-on science lesson from some industry professionals Thursday. Doctors and medical students held a scientific show and tell, covering everything from bones to cardiovascular health. It's all part of Anatomy Education Day. The program was started by Dr. Samuel Marquez in 2012 to spark an interest in the science field. Keon?
Yes, so going back to my inaugural Anatomy Education Day, which actually Dr. Ian Taylor donated and reimbursed us for these T-shirts. That was the only one time that the dean's office helped out on that. And so you pick your people carefully. I picked Dr. Stan Friedman, seen here in the middle, was the former senior associate dean of medical education. And this gentleman here is Dr. Clinton Brown, practicing physician and nephrologist, who talked about his days at Wingate High School, where somebody came in and talked about his path to becoming a doctor, and that sparked his interest. So education outreach does work, at least anecdotally, for a number of us. Students are not recruited. Here's Dr. Maurice Selby, at the time was a student. They volunteer. They want to share their success with their brethren, and it's a sight to see. And this is the group in 2012. So as the years progressed and I fine-tuned my approach, I thought that it would be important to welcome individuals from other schools, with having some of the leaders of our institution welcoming them. And I wanted to structure the experience by having lectures before coming to lab. So here I landed Dr. Mike Lucchese, who at the time was the acting dean, and I'm here informing the audience, as well as the people listening, who doesn't really need to know this, but they know how busy deans are. I never wanted to bother any dean, because I know how incredibly filled up their docket is. And I'm trying to explain to the audience that they take the time, Dr. Lucchese, to come in to talk for 5 minutes, shows you the importance of how they feel that this education outreach is for them. And they really do appreciate it, at the level of their minds are. So it's really good. So I hire the best dynamic teachers I can find. Distinguished teaching professor Keith Williams would talk about the heart for 20 minutes. Dr. Ricardo Bianchi is the current Associate Dean of Medical Education. And also Dr. Catherine Perkins would talk about renal physiology and the amounts of fluids we consume and excrete. It sets it up to taking them down to the 10 stations that we've organized. And again, who's running the show at these stations, right? There's both faculty and students, but these are the type of faculties I got. Richard Sadowski, a practicing family medicine attending. I mean, he was a little bit resistant, but afterwards said it was fun to do. And you can just tell how much fun he was having. And here we have a chair of a clinical department, Dr. Jenny Libyan of pathology. Look at the clinical pathologic specimens that she has to carry by herself in buckets. So we have to be, so I'm no longer presenting, I'm just counseling those who are interested in education outreach. Their time is precious. You don't abuse it. You don't tap them, once a month or once a semester, or even, once a year once every 2 years. You don't bother them. But of course, when they give so much of their time, remember, they don't have to do this. It is not part of their job description. It is not part of the promotion. They do it because they feel it's worth it. They feel like it makes a difference. And I feel it, I can sense it. I get inspired by it. And this is our annual dinner that we would have. Here is Dr. Jason Lazar, Chief of Cardiology, now Czar of Medical Education. Here's Dr. Mike Augenbrown, Chief of Infectious Diseases. Pam Sass, retired from Family Medicine, and the lovely Tracy Wilson from Public Health. So you met Lucchese and Jenny Libyan. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that, but let me just switch gears a little bit because I've been serving on the admissions committee now for 4 years. Just really quickly, Dr. Shoshana Delarere, Maria Akhtar, Dr. Michael Myers, psychiatry, Angelique Gressner, Diane Weaver, Stanley Fisher is not seeing this, but all these people are decent human beings that read between the lines of the candidates in an effort to give them an invite to come to our school. Every effort is made. It's fair. It's amazing to see, and I'm touched by it. And I actually get recharged every Wednesday after the meeting, making it all worthwhile writing those reports and presenting them. And finally, just 2 more slides. This is our March for Science in 2017. Here we have the president of UUP, our union, Dr. Fred Cole. Here's our union chapter president, Dr. Rowena Blackman-Stroud, Karen Benker, Glory Hall, but this is my family, my lovely wife, Maria, my 2 kids. And it's just, I've been elected to serve as vice president for academics. It is with great honor and a great privilege that allows me to advocate for my colleagues. It's the never can do attitude, and I would like to succeed. And with Fred Cole's leadership in presenting the HEALS Act, that's an incredible piece of legislature. If that's passed, it's going to benefit everyone that we know. And everybody's wearing their UUP. I'm kind of hiding from this. This is the Arsenal T-shirt that the running Gunners, but people didn't pick. Maybe Ian Taylor would have picked that up had he been there. And lastly, this is the March for Science, and I met this man here at the March for Science in 2017, Dr. Chris Roman, Vice Chair of Cell Biology and Unit Director of the current unit we're in, Unit 3. We never asked each other, what are you doing here? Obviously, performing our civic duty. That's what I'm trying to teach my kids. But I tell you why we do that. We do this in the hopes of making a difference. That's why we do it. For the medical education aspect of it, people in the business know that we don't do this for the short term. The seeds we plant takes years to develop. And I feel that when my time is done, I would have made a difference, because in our business, if we get one individual to go to graduate school, to go to medical school, it's well worth the effort. And going to the cafeteria and getting my coffee, I took this picture on the wall, and I thought it was so apropos by Malcolm X. Education is the passport to the future. For tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. I just took it just this morning. I said, that's a nice way to end it, especially in the month of February. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Marquez. Much appreciated.
Okay.
Thank you. And so what I'd like to encourage folks to do, I have a few questions, but if you all have questions, you may enter them into the chat function on the side. But thank you, Dr. Marquez, for your presentation. One of the first questions I have is, I know how important health equity and social justice is to the mission of SUNY Downstate, and certainly it's interwoven into the work that we all do. And I wanted your thoughts, especially in light of what you shared about your background. How does your research sort of incorporate some of the threads of social justice and health equity?
Well, let me just show you once, I'm just going to share the screen. I knew I was pressed for time. This is one of the cultural anthropologists that influenced my thinking back. This was a slide that I had, but I took it out because of the constraint of time. Oppressed people need a sense of fairness and justice in a society in order to thrive. And that was from a book from 1982. And I thought that was apropos then, and it just makes sense. And I think that did I stop the share? Did I?
Yes, you did. It's okay.
Okay, so I think that that's what society needs. When society feels that there's injustice, there's going to be a wave of discontent, and we saw that these last couple of months, and it's awesome because the people talk. You know, you look at the former Soviet Union. You know, they reach a critical mass, and when the response comes of the great masses rebelling because of the injustice. It took them a long time to do that. So what I try to do is I try to give everyone a chance and an opportunity to grow, and everybody is different. It takes a lot of patience, and it's unfortunately, it's the underrepresented groups at the medical school classes that I've encountered that have difficulties adjusting to the rigors of medical school. And that is to me, my opinion, I can't prove it. I haven't written a paper on it, but it's a direct relationship on the preparation that they had and the culture that they come from. They're you know, some of them are passive learners when they arrive in med school, and you need to be very proactive, and they learn it as they go. They learn they realize soon that if they're not proactive, they will lag behind. But there are other students that come with that proactive approach, and those are the ones that quickly succeed. And most of them are the ones that I recruit to present their work at these national meetings. And early on, what I try to do is I try to empower them by giving them the first authorship. You know, you know, I'm not criticizing those that don't do that, but there are those that, you know, if they're the head of the lab, they got to be the first ones. No, if they do the work, they're put first, and then I give them the importance of being first, in that this is your reputation and how you present the work. I try to give them a sense of pride. You know, this is your work, and you have to present it like you know it, and you do know it, and we have to practice and put in the time, and they do, and it's really a joy to have an opportunity to teach them how to present. And you know, they have that, you get a sense that they believe in you, and when they have that belief in you, you do everything you can not to let them down. That's my motto. I cannot let them down.
Well, I really appreciate that. You know, it's certainly a nuanced answer, and I appreciate you and so many of the colleagues who are on this morning's call for your contributions to trying to have a more equitable society, especially as it relates to health. And so one of the other questions I have for you is, you know, a lot of your research also includes this anthropological research as well. And I'm curious, how does a person, you know, you talked about your story. How do you grow up in the South Bronx and then end up deciding that this is the field that you wanted to get into?
Okay, thank you for that fantastic question, because I really wanted to say this. So I'll just quickly share my screen just one more time, and that would be the last time.
Sure.
Share screen, there you go. James V. Taylor and Bob DiBernardo, physical anthropologists at Lehman College, came to Bronx High School of Science in my junior year with skulls. And I kind of vaguely remember it. But the one thing that what shocked me was that they were talking about a skull in Africa. They looked at the teeth. The back molars of the teeth were huge, big molars, but tiny front teeth, which meant that they were not meat eaters, but seed grinders, nutcrackers, right? Just by looking at the teeth. And then they said that they can extrapolate from the anatomy of the dentition and say, oh, they engaged in seed eating, nut cracking activities. Where do you find seeds? Where do you find nuts? In what environment? Do you find them at the seashore, at the Sahara Desert? No, so you find them in forests. But the fossils that were found there is arid desert, like there's no forest. So the conclusion was, when they lived here, they lived in forest. And I said to myself, I'm in the middle of the Bronx at Lehman College, at Bronx High School of Science, and these guys are recreating the diets and the environments of these guys based on a skull. And I just thought that was, for me, magical. All right, that was my junior year in science. They left after half an hour, whatever the case may be. My senior year came. The next 2 years I was at Fordham. And then 4 or 5 years later, I'm at Lehman, and I'm saying, what elective should I take? I got to take a natural science, and maybe I'll take anthropology. And I took it with James Taylor because I remembered he took the time to come to science. And that's how I got my interest in becoming a physical anthropologist. So that little gesture of education outreach, at least for me, worked well.
I never underestimate the power of show and tell, both for youth and adults. So, I think that kind of intervention, how that sparked your curiosity, is really telling. And I'm pleased to hear that there was an outcome so many years later in you and your career. So thank you for sharing, Dr. Marquez.
Sure.
I hope you don't mind me jumping in. I just want to say thank you so much, Dr. Marquez, for all that you do at Downstate, because it never fails. You're one of the busiest people that I've seen at the institution, but you will stop and take the time to do what is necessary to help our students, to work with your colleagues, and to give us all that we've ever asked for. And I don't think you get enough credit for that. So I just want to applaud you for all that you do. I think we have time for maybe one comment, and I see that Dr. Viswanathan, I hope I said that correctly.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Marquez, for your inspiring story and the wonderful work you're doing for our community. I had the privilege actually about, I think it was last July, when our transplant unit reopened. There were an entire group of new nursing staff, and I gave them a lecture about psychosocial issues. But I began with the background story of Dr. Kountz. And I didn't realize, so many of our own staff in the transplant unit didn't know about his story. And they were all quite inspired by it. I think, as you pointed out, history really also influences our future. And what I would like to suggest is, I think it's important, that we do go to Wingate and other schools and inspire an interest in the medicine. I think as part of it, if you tell them for about 5 minutes about the story of Dr. Kountz, it will, make them realize, these things are possible for anybody, somebody who looks like them. And also, this great person was in our own neighborhood. So that would be my suggestion.
Well, thank you very much for that. Maybe I'll include you to come with me to do that, and I'll be happy.
Oh, okay. It will be my pleasure. Yeah.
All right. Excellent. Excellent. You see, this is how we recruit, just like
Yeah.
that's how we do it.
Thank you so much. And you'd be pleased to know that Wingate High School is one of the schools that we have interacted with in order to work with students.
Yeah,
so I agree with you wholeheartedly. Thank you for your comment. And so what I'd like to do at this point, and thank you, Dr. Marquez, I'd applaud for you were we in person, but virtually I hope this will do. I would like to transition now into the awards portion of today's event. So bear with me as I share my screen. So I'm pleased to announce the 2021 award winners. So for our diversity champions, I'd like to acknowledge Dr. Alan Lewis, Dean of the School of Health Professions. So Dr. Alan N. Lewis Jr. Is currently Dean and Professor of the School of Health Professions at SUNY Downstate. He has over 35 years of experience as a clinician, administrator, and educator. He has been a division director in a university-based survey and evaluation research laboratory, as well as chair of 2 academic departments. He's currently on the editorial board for the Journal of Neuroscience and Rehabilitation and is the former editor of the Journal of Applied Rehabilitation Counseling. His research focuses on disability disparities and measuring outcomes of disability services. Dr. Lewis has published extensively, conducted numerous invited and refereed international, national, regional, statewide, and local presentations. And Dr. Lewis also has experience as a principal investigator and program evaluator for federally funded research of over $15 million. So Dr. Alan Lewis, I'd like to acknowledge you and give you your award for our Diversity Champion for 2021.
Thank you very much, Bernaku. Thank you very much. I'm very honored, obviously, to be involved with any kind of award that includes the eminent Dr. Kountz, a world-renowned transplant pioneer, and of course, at an institution like SUNY Downstate, where we have so much diversity and so many individuals who could have gotten this award. Thank you very much. Honored and humbled.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lewis. Our next diversity champion is Dr. Roosevelt Borsiquot. Dr. Borsiquot is an associate program director of the Internal Medicine Residency Training Program. He oversees the ambulatory medicine didactic curriculum and serves as the medical director of quality and patient safety in IM primary care. He oversees the quality improvement research in Suite R and is a faculty preceptor for our internal medicine residents, SUNY Downstate College of Medicine medical nurse practitioners, physician assistant, and undergraduate students. And of note, Dr. Borsiquot is the recipient of the NIH's Ruth L. Kirstein National Research Service Award, Individual Predoctoral Fellowship, and NIH T32 grant. Dr. Borsiquot, congratulations. You are our 2021 Diversity Champion.
Thank you very much, Vanessa. I appreciate it. It's honored for me to be among this year's recipient. I'm very humbled by this gesture. I thank everyone for this selection. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you, and congratulations once again. And so we're going into the next category of our awards, and I'd like to acknowledge Dr. Jason Lazar. He's our Vice Dean for Education in the College of Medicine and SUNY Distinguished Teaching Professor, Professor of Medicine, Public Health, Molecular and Cell Biology. Shortly after joining the Downstate faculty in 2003, Dr. Lazar became a student favorite and was appointed as Clinical Assistant Dean in the College of Medicine in 2004, a role in which he continues to advise medical students with career selection and residency planning. He served as director of SUNY Downstate's Cardiology Fellowship for 9 years and rejuvenated the program's clinical and academic training mission. Dr. Lazar bridges teaching and research to mentor students and trainees at various levels. Many have won awards in state and national research competitions and risen to assume faculty positions at leading institutions. His research laboratory focuses on subclinical markers and cardiovascular manifestations of systemic disease states such as HIV infection and sickle cell disease. He's widely published in more than 200 peer-reviewed manuscripts. Over the past decade, Dr. Lazar has been awarded 4 different New York State Department of Health Empire Clinical Research Investigator Program, or ECRIP, training grants, and he has served as a mentor and faculty member for SUNY Downstate's program to increase diversity amongst individuals engaged in cardiovascular health research, or PRIDE, which provides didactic training to junior faculty in conducting research and health disparities. Dr. Lazar has also supported our Exploring Health Careers program and a number of our pipeline programs. So I'd like to acknowledge him with our Excellence in Mentoring Award. Thank you, Dr. Lazar.
Thank you very much. I too am honored and humbled to not only be the recipient of recognition, but also to be just a part of this incredible Office of Diversity. Diversity enhances, diversity embellishes. Every successful organization is based upon increasing diversity. I'd like to congratulate Sam Marquez, and for you movie fans, I think most of you would agree with me that it's probably Sam Marquez and not Robert De Niro who is the true star of A Bronx Tale. I just want to thank Drs. Butenfoster and Daniel Zostazi for their support and their friendship and their guidance, and to everybody else, have a wonderful day.
Well, congratulations again, Dr. Lazar. Thank you. Our next Excellence in Mentoring Award winner is Dr. Ming Zhang. Dr. Zhang conducts basic science research in immunology into several clinical areas: cardiovascular diseases, sepsis, and pregnancy diseases. He regularly mentors undergraduate students, graduate students, medical students, residents, and clinical fellows in doing research in these areas. Students have gained valuable experiences, produced peer-reviewed publications, and many advanced well in their careers. Dr. Zhang received his medical degree from Sichuan University West China Center of Medical Sciences and his PhD from Rutgers University, New Jersey Medical School. He did his postdoctoral fellowship in the laboratory of Dr. Michael Carroll at Harvard Medical School. Dr. Ming Zhang wins our Excellence in Mentoring 2021 award.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate. Actually, I think I was very inspired by working with the student from minority programs throughout the years. Just one example: a recent student from Africa. She was disabled, born as disabled, with leg has a problem, hands has a problem, but she want to become a physician. So she came from, she live in New Jersey, taking bus, coming to do summer internship in my laboratory. I was very impressed, how this young lady, taking such an effort, pursuing a dream. I still have a contact with her. She was texting me. She's preparing for MCAT. I was asking how her progress. I think this is really wonderful program. Supporting such students who actually now the survivor striver to be a outstanding physician in the future. Yeah. Thank you very much for the for Nika and for all of office in office to support all the students. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Dr. Zhang, thank you very much. Mentoring makes such a difference in the work that we do, and we're happy that you're contributing in this way. So thank you very much. Congratulations. This one should come as a little bit of a surprise, but our Excellence in Teaching Award for 2021 goes to Dr. Samuel Marquez, whom I believe you are already familiar with. But in addition to some of the work that you do, Dr. Marquez is a fantastic teacher, and is renowned for that around our campus and beyond. And so we wanted to acknowledge him in addition to him sharing this morning with an Excellence in Teaching Award.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it, and all the lovely comments I'm getting. It really reinforces and reinvigorates me, and I think I'm good to go for the next 10 years, but I can't promise after that. But you got me for the next 10 years.
Well, congratulations again, Dr. Marquez. Going into our Excellence in Teaching Award is Dr. Daniel Elke. Dr. Daniel Elke is an associate professor and interim chair of the Department of Health Policy and Management at SUNY Downstate School of Public Health. There he teaches on health policy and advocacy and international health systems. His research focuses on recent reform episodes in the American and British healthcare systems. He is co-editor with James Marone on the health policy textbook, Health, Politics, and Policy, 5th edition. Originally from Washington, D.C., Dr. Elke is an avid amateur meteorologist, and is the proud father of a 6-year-old son and 2-year-old twins. Dr. Elke wins our Excellence in Teaching Award for 2021.
Thank you very much. It is the honor of a lifetime to share the virtual stage here today with Dr. Marquez, my fellow award winners. I am inspired day after day with the work that you, Dr. Goldstone, Dr. Booten Foster, Dr. Daniels Osaze, my sometimes student, do on a daily basis. And if we want to know, how high the stakes are when it comes to outreach, education, and research, particularly amongst our communities of color, I think we only have to look at the ordeal that we've experienced in the current COVID-19 pandemic, the disproportionate burdens and impacts that are faced by our communities of color. And it is only through effective outreach and education and research that we are going to ensure that our response to this pandemic and everything that follows continues to improve. And on a much more positive note, I can promise warmer days are ahead. I see 50s and 60s in our future once we get through tomorrow, Saturday. So thank you very much, everyone. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Elke. I love the amateur meteorology as well, so I'll be sure to talk to you about it in the future. And last but not least, we'd like to go into our Community Service Award, which I'll pivot to someone who knows Dr. Sean Thomas a little bit better, my colleague, Ms. Shamika Bowman.
Hi, everyone. This award, the Community Service Award, will be honoring Dr. Sean Thomas. He was born in Harlem, New York, and raised in the Hudson Valley. He attended Coit Rosemary Hall for high school and later graduated from Brown University in 2003 with a Bachelor's of Science in Psychology. While at Brown, he was a captain of the Division I track and field team and was Ivy League indoor and outdoor champion in the triple jump. Dr. Thomas graduated from SUNY Downstate Medical Center with his doctorate in physical therapy in 2011, where he earned his Alumni Award for Leadership and Community Service Award, and the Best Research Award for his thesis entitled Facilitating a Positive Change in Physical Activity Level with African American Adolescent Girls Using the Trans-Theoretical Model. Dr. Thomas has been working at JAG1 since 2012 and is currently the clinical director of the Georgetown office. He is a Grayson provider and certified kinesiotape practitioner and is SFMA Level 1 certified. Dr. Thomas has competed over 19 Spartan races, is a 4-time marathoner, a former professional dancer, and the CEO of Be More Today, a company that provides information and inspiration to help ordinary people do extraordinary things. He is the author of Be More Today, a 40-day guide to a better version of you, and he hosts a weekly podcast called The Be More Today Show. Dr. Thomas offers free weekly workouts in Brooklyn with a community-based organization called Spartan Sundays, a fitness group he helped to co-found in 2012. He also serves as an ordained elder and a health ministries leader. Dr. Thomas is married to Hamanj Pai Thomas, who works as a public defender in Brooklyn, and together they have a 5-year-old daughter named Sonali. I apologize if I messed up any of the names. I also want to add that Dr. Thomas graciously accepted our email invitation to participate in our office BK Swag event, which Tina and I co-hosted. It was a 4-week mini-series in which we had high school athletes from across the Brooklyn area. They participated in this event in which they were able to get a little sense of what the different health professional fields that they can possibly gain interest in as an athlete as it aligned with their sports. We emailed Dr. Thomas, and without any hesitation, he was like, no doubt, like, we're on it, him and his team. And we really, truly, truly appreciate you and your team for all of your work that you put into for your series, for your segment. We know that the students graciously appreciated your time, your effort, everything that you were able to share with them from your experience from a student leading up to your profession as a doctoral physical therapists. Not only did he give a great presentation, Dr. Thomas even gave out some of his books to the students through a trivia game. And on top of that, he offered each student who was on the call an opportunity to intern at his facility. And I mean, that was just an amazing opportunity for our students, and we truly, truly appreciate you for this. I'll pass it over to Tina because I know she has a few words that she'd like to share as well.
We surveyed, hi everyone. We surveyed some of the students who were part of the SWAG program just to get their feedback on how they felt about the sessions. And overall, I can say that the things that they said about Sean Thomas and his team was that the fact that they would take their time to come and speak to them about how they got into the field and, you know, the things in the field that helps them to become better athletes. They were impressed and they were surprised and they were very grateful. And we had parents reaching out to us afterwards saying this was just great. You know, how do I get my child's internship? How do I get them involved? So we just want to say that your contributions to the work of diversity is well noted, and the opportunity you get to give back to Downstate is tremendous. So thank you very much.
If I may add one more thing to what's already been said about Dr. Thomas. So I met Dr. Thomas almost a year ago when we were planning BK SWAG. And SWAG is Scholars with Athletic Goals. It's a program that's sponsored by Mount Sinai School of Medicine and SUNY Downstate to increase the number of students of color who enter medicine by tapping into and leveraging the talents of our athletic scholars. So Dr. Thomas came to the office, right? Because we were hosting this event last year and it was postponed. And he came to the office and over the past year, in the midst of the pandemic, he continued to stay in contact with us throughout the pandemic and participated in it virtually. So just thank you. And I know how busy you are with all of the things that you do, but just the fact that you came to the office and you stayed in contact with us for the year. It is just, we're just so appreciative, and this you're a product of SUNY Downstate, so we're proud of that as well. So thank you so much, Dr. Thomas.
Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it, everyone. Thank you so much. You know, I'm actually at work right now, so Dr. Carla, Shamika, Tina, thank you so much. This is an honor. I'm a Downstate baby, so you know, Downstate is family. So whenever people need stuff from Downstate, you know, my Dr. Katz is online. She's our PT director, and she joined us today as well. And I'm appreciative for all Downstate has given to me and done for me. Being a clinician here in Brooklyn, still working for JAG 1 has been great giving back to the community. I will continue to do so in various ways. And actually, Professor Marquez was my anatomy teacher when I was in school. And I remember Professor Marquez being so pristine in his directions and his instructions. It really inspired me. And to be honest, you know, I struggled with anatomy. And I had a meeting with him, and he doesn't remember this at all probably, but I remember talking to him and he inspired me to keep going, to keep pushing and to get through the program. And, you know, here I am today as a product of him and Downstate as well. So thankful for Downstate in all capacities, appreciative for all the work you guys are doing, and let's keep doing it together. Community over competition as always. It's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Thomas. I appreciate that. And it's so good to hear a testament of the work that we do when we collaborate and the ways in which we are able to support one another. So thank you all for joining us for the 2021.
One more.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm going to jump in. We also have the Outstanding Service Award. Unfortunately, the individual could not be with us today, but we still want to acknowledge him. His name is Mr. Rick Gudelman. I know many of you who have tirelessly been writing grants for the institution have probably had some contact with him at some point. And just as difficult as it is to write those grants and get the funding, it's just as challenging for someone like Mr. Gudelman to help us manage the funding and to make sure that we're able to handle our expenses the way we need to. He's one of a handful of people that work in the Research Foundation. I know what they do is extremely difficult, it's extremely challenging. And each of them has to manage multiple grants throughout the institution. So Rick has done an excellent job of making sure that we are in compliance with our funding sources, that we're able to spend the money the way we need to, and to provide the services to our students, our faculty, and all of our people who benefit from our pipeline initiatives. So I want to say congratulations also to Mr. Rick Gudelman from the Research Foundation, who is our recipient of the Outstanding Service Award. So thank you. And congratulations to everyone. We are so excited for all of our awardees today. You have made our work that much easier. You've made our students proud to be members of the Downstate community. You've been great colleagues. You've helped collaborate on so many initiatives that come out of our office. You have helped us break down those silos where we're able to work with all 5 colleges and make sure that we work as a united Downstate institution. And I'm just excited to work with all of you, and I look forward to all we have coming forth in the future and the new projects that we'll be working on together. So again, congratulations to all of you. These are well-deserved awards, and we're very proud of all of you.
And I want to say thank you again, just to echo what Dr. Daniels Asage said. Thank you, because this really, I mean, it's been a tough year, and I'm so glad that we come together to celebrate, right? We celebrate our diversity, we respect our differences, and we engage a community of scholars and clinicians and healthcare workers and advocates, and that's what makes us SUNY Downstate. That's what brings us closer to excellence, as our dean likes to say. I do want to thank Mr. Renako Goldstone for pulling this together virtually. The only thing I miss is going downstairs to eat Ernie's food. He would usually host this, but maybe hopefully next year we can have this. But thank you so much, Mr. Goldstone, Dr. Dan Tasaze, Ms. Bowman, and Ms. Ajay for really bringing this together. And again, congratulations to all of our award recipients and their family members and friends who are here.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us for the 2021 Dr. Samuel O. Kountz Jr. Awards, Lecture and Awards. Thank you again to Dr. Samuel Marquez for starting us off and sharing a little bit about his experience. And congratulations once again to all of our award winners.
And see you in March, right, Dr. Danza Saze?
Yes, we will have our Dr. Dale Blackstock Award for Women's History Month and to honor some of the women at Downstate for all of what they've accomplished. So we look forward to seeing you there as well. That will be held on March 18th. So look out for the notices.
Thank you.
Right. Have a fantastic afternoon and weekend, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.